Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome back to the ultimate guide to Dark Souls 2. This will be the first episode for the guide for the first DLC. Shulva!
Yep,
Let's do it.
We recommend that you do the DLC after Nishandra, because all the DLC stuff is pretty much harder than the vanilla game.
Yeah,
pretty much everything.
The DLC stuff gives you like the actual Dark Souls difficulty that we were looking for.
Yeah.
So, first things first is that you're going to have to go to the Rotten. Because that's where you need to go to access the third DLC. It's behind his Primal Bonfire, so you gotta go there. Now we're using the same build that we've been using for the full guide, level 150. We're not going to change that, so this build also still works surprisingly well for the DLC.
Yeah.
So you guys shouldn't have too much of a problem with the DLC now that we know some really quick, speedy ways to take out a boss anyway. But yeah. We can essentially take out a boss much quicker now that we basically have a little bit more knowledge about the quick ways to do this shit. So we're going to go ahead and first of all put on a rapier, because we're going to do the Rotten right now, just so you guys can basically see it in action.
Yeah, we figured we might as well start from, from Majula, going to the DLC.
Because you guys might have done the skip for like the bosses and like the 1 million souls or some shit like that to get through Shrine of Winter, so you guys might have done that if you know a little bit more about the game. But yeah, the setup we're going for essentially is just a maxed out rapier, plus 10 rapier, and we're still at like 14 dex.
Yeah, I mean, we're 28 strength, yeah, about 14 dex.
Yeah, it'll be 28 and 14.
Now, the great thing about using this build is you can use it with pretty much any build. Will be able to wield a rapier, and even at base stats, you'll still be doing like way in enough damage.
Yeah, like the whole purpose of the rapier is that your regular hits don't do that much damage, but bosses have a really large counter window. Like, you'll be able to see, if you keep watching, you'll see like 2 different damages from R1s. Like, that's a counter. So we stop after, because like the Rotten has a 2-hit counter window with a rapier essentially after that attack. So poke, and you've got an extra like 40% damage.
But I mean, even at that, you're still doing crazy damage, and at this point we're only using the rapier and the ring of blades.
So just there, what you seen was the first hit did barely any damage for some reason, but the second and third hit did much more damage than the fourth and fifth hit that finished them, because that was during the counter window, because he was in his attack recovery frames. So like, that's where you get your damage in with a rapier. With a Leo ring, you would be doing even more damage.
Yeah, not only that, we'll be picking up the Flynn's ring during this playthrough, as well as you can also use a bright bug and even engraved gauntlets if you want to really ramp up the damage some more. So there is plenty of ways of taking out bosses at a really alarmingly fast rate, and we're going to show you something for the Shulva guide anyway that will hopefully alleviate a lot of problems that maybe some people have been having. But here in this room, just to mention this, is if you don't have the DLC, you can put your summon sign down here, and this will put your summon sign in the optional area.
Yeah, it essentially mirrors it into another area, so that people that are in the DLC that are having difficulty can summon someone outside of the DLC.
Even if you don't have the DLC.
Yeah, even if you've not paid for it, you can do that, and it means you still get a chance. It's just like a little teaser for the DLC. I mean, we know it's there to sell the DLC, obviously, but it's still kind of cool that you get a little bit. Granted, the boss isn't great, but yeah, it is what it is.
So that was just, the first item of the DLC essentially, and just picking up that dragon charm right there. And now we get into the main sort of area, which is the Shulva Sanctum City.
And you guys are going to want to pause and watch this, because this is kind of cool. Not only is the view great, but there's Sin, the slumbering dragon, who in our blind playthrough we thought was Calamite. So we don't want to spoil that for you, because it's kind of cool what it does. So you guys just want to sort of like watch that.
Yeah. Now, when we initially started this guide, we thought we might have to soul vessel into using another build to use different weapons or whatever. This is not true. We're pretty much using the same weapons and stuff, just with slight variations from the main guide. Now, what we're going to use is, for the main enemies in this area, they all have a lot of poise, like a lot of poise.
A hell of a lot.
So we are using the Great Sword plus the Stone Ring, and that is guaranteed to stun the enemies in one hit, which means that
if you two-hand it. You want that extra, you want as much poise
even if you
break as
one-hand
possible. On the archers it does, on the guys with the lances it doesn't, but two-handed R1s on the lancers will definitely stun them 100% of the time.
Which means that you can kill any enemy in a 2-hit combo.
Yeah. So there's just like one item essentially here. Now that room there is later on in the game, that's like shortcut access down there. But we'll get to that when the time comes, because you have to make it all the way down there. But this will hopefully make it a little easier for you guys.
Yeah, just sort of explaining the whole layout essentially.
So the first warning we're going to want to give you guys is that most of your worry in this comes from poison damage in this DLC. In fact, first let's do this. So these are contraptions. You hit these and it raises platforms. The really good thing is that damages them, and as you've seen, it just knocked one of them off the edge of the cliff. So that's a really good sort of obstacle to bring up to help you a little bit.
Yeah, so you definitely want to hit that thing first. Pick that, get the first platform up, and just deal with those 4 enemies. Now there's a shortcut back to here, and that's the only way you can get back to here from that thing in the middle there. You'll see later on.
What you can do if you're not interested in this, you just want to get through the level, is you can pull out a bow and you can hit that contraption lever fucking thing and it will raise the platform, and you can drop onto the platform and skip this section, just go straight ahead to the next one if you want to get through the DLC a little bit quicker. But do this because you get a +3 dark quartz ring, and that's 250 extra dark defense if I remember right, which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty
That's a lot of dark defense to put on a ring.
That kind of thing is good for checking players in PvP, or against some bosses if you're having trouble. It just means that, you can pack on a lot of defense for a certain thing and, just steamroll that way. So remember, pick up those life gems, and now we're going to get that ring. So to get the ring, what you want to do is you want to hit this contraption, and then immediately jump down there onto the top of this thing that's coming up.
Yep.
And then what you have to do is, now you have to do this exactly this way.
A plunging attack.
I have no idea what the fuck happened to that.
I don't know what happened there, but like you somehow managed to sprint right onto it. If you can run and then hit jump, but you must finish. You must like plunge attack, because if you don't, you'll land, roll, and you'll go off the edge of that column, obviously. But that's the Dark Quartz ring +3. Now that ring is insanely like helpful, of course, for bosses like the Rotten and Nishandra, for instance. If you guys take this 10G+, that ring will come in handy for bosses like that, because of course their damage is much higher, so you can mitigate it a little bit more.
So what you saw there was we hit the contraption again and went down into the bottom level. Now if you go into these contraptions and you go into the middle of them as they're coming down, it'll take you into this bottom layer, which will allow you to get what we just picked up there. However, it's not really you don't really need it. It's not an amazing thing. But what you can do is, to get this one to raise again, what you can do is you hit this contraption here. You'll see when we go back up how it all kind of links in around in itself. But I mean, really, this bit is kind of optional. You kind of just want to jump down and get onto this sort of bit
Admittedly,
of
you could probably have, like, once you cleared out the guys up top, you could have probably shot that contraption from up top and then
that's the other way of doing it.
We just showed you what happens when you go down the middle of the tower. So now that you've grabbed your longbow, just got to take these guys out, which is relatively simple. Just do as we say, not as we do. But yeah. So now, of course, we're grabbing this item here, which is the poison stone.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of upgrade materials and stuff scattered about this area. However, the issue with that is that you should be able to buy and have already fully upgraded all your stuff before you come here anyway, so... I was making a point earlier that I just remembered, and it just reminded me because of that poison stone, which is that this area, one of your bigger concerns is going to be not only the high damage of the enemies, but the poison that they can apply as well. It can really, really hurt if they like stack the poison on you as well as their high damage. Yeah. And those little bugs there as well, those guys explode and release little acid clouds which damage your gear, so just try not to stick around them for too long. So hitting that raises this platform here, which as you can see is a shortcut from the other side at the beginning. Here, just straight there, so you can cut out that whole other bit. Yeah, you cut out the bit with the longbow and the dark quartz ring essentially. But once again guys, the dark quartz ring is something that we say is worth picking up. Yeah, so now you can pick up this item here, poison bite ring, which I guess is kind of like, it's like the dark quartz ring for poison, essentially. Yeah, they've essentially given you a way to make this area a little less dangerous. Yeah. And I suppose the dark ring makes it a little less dangerous considering the boss's AoE and the boss's fucking strongest attack, which is the 3 dark orbs one after the other. So as you can see, jumping when the platform is down and then you jump down onto the lowered platform, that takes you up to this section where you're right next to the contraption. Yeah, so now you can get a feel for the general layout of that area. So there's kind of like 3 levels, but not really. So coming round back here, there's like an item which is down here. It's kind of like it's actually reasonably well hidden. I didn't know about this until we were recording the guide, but yeah, this is actually pretty well hidden. But it's only an old growth BAM, so yeah. But if only it was something good, like +10 rapier. So we're going back to where we were, just so you can just see the general layout. We don't want to skip a bit, and then you're like, where the fuck did you actually go?
Yeah, so of course drawing these enemies back, try to take them one at a time, which is obviously not working in my favour right now.
Just remember not to, like, you know, because obviously I killed them and, you know, I didn't die and then had to, you know, get here again. That's obviously what I just killed them because I'm good at the game. Obviously that's what happened. But
yeah, guys, you've seen our PvP videos, we never die.
Yeah. So jump across here and then just take care of these enemies. Honestly, this part here that we're going to show you is literally all for an Elizabeth mushroom. So if you don't care about that, then just don't bother with this next part.
Essentially, yeah, that's pretty much how it be. And like pro points for that. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, I know. So heading back here, there is like some thunder lightning urns. And you can get back here. Now, that contraption there opens up the other platform, but you don't even really need to hit that because you can just jump over it anyway, you know, the platform above.
Yeah,
that
that's really there if you don't know what the jump button is.
But again, this is all for an Elizabeth mushroom, so it's really not worth it.
Yeah, I mean...
Especially with the techniques that we show you for defeating the bosses, you won't even fucking need an Elizabeth mushroom.
You wouldn't want one, you'd be better using a bright bug.
Yeah, exactly. There
Bright bug reduces damage and it reduces the damage you take and increases the damage you deal by quite a nice amount for a solid minute. That's really fucking good when you take counter damage into consideration, as well as buffs and ring of blades and Flynn's ring and shit.
I kind of spaz out here. I just took a pure brain fart moment. And I'm just like, oh yeah, you just jump back. See, all that for an Elizabeth mushroom, not worth it. But obviously we're showing you anyway. So continuing on, you come across your first kind of poison stone lizard thing. Now the only way to kill these cunts is by having a bow. So you really want to have a bow for this area. A bow is integral to this area. Yeah. It really, really is.
For these guys anyway, it really does come in handy. There's some contraptions that you want to flip later on, which are like pressure plates, and the bow triggers them.
Yeah.
And usually these contraptions are in areas where the enemies are quite difficult to manage. So the bow really does shine when it comes to those parts. So now that you've fought a couple of these guys, we'll go over what these guys drop. The Sanctum soldiers have the potential to drop you the Sanctum mace, which is sort of Great Lands, Great Club hybrid sort of thing. It's pretty cool. It inflicts poison damage to you and very high poison damage to the opponent as well, so it's pretty good for insta poison on a running attack. Sanctum soldier gauntlets, which increase poison. Poison moss, poison stone, old growth balm, dragon charm, and vine balm. And of course we did fight another enemy just a little earlier. Hold on, to find the sheet for it. It was the little corrosive insects.
Just to quickly mention here, at this point here, this is where you need to come to get certain items. I'm just showing you the general layout. Like, you can skip what we're about to do by coming this way and going down that sort of ruined bridge. But to get the items, you obviously want to come back here and then, you know, go slightly different.
There's a Thunder Quartz Ring +3 in here.
Yeah, there's actually a few decent items that you might want to pick up here. Now, although the Sanctum soldiers drop the Sanctum mace, if you come along this way, you can actually pick up a Sanctum mace, which is the first technically unique item that's like a weapon or whatever in DLC.
It is the first new edition.
But the Dark Quartz Ring actually. So what you
there was Dark Quartz Rings in the game already. So I'm talking about, like, this is the first brand new thing, as opposed to an improved thing that isn't as shitty consumable.
So what is here is obviously just above where you were, but if you drop down that bit there, it'll just take you to the room which leads to the
which leads back here essentially. There's a little tactic here which is hit this and then run off this side.
You want to immediately hit that, jump onto that platform, and then there's a bonfire that you can run off. You'll see in a second. I kind of mess it up and I didn't get footage of it, but it's simple enough to like take directions. Hit that, immediately jump on that platform.
Yeah, hit it. Run off the right side. Like run it. Like when you hit it, go to the right side. Just run onto the platform as it raises. The bonfire up there. That's perfect. If you miss that, don't worry. We can show you how to get to the bonfire from this side.
Yeah. So.
I'll go back to the point I was making. The egg insects drop vine balm, old growth balm, golden fruit balm, and blackweed balm.
So all the balms.
All shit.
Yeah, we've never ever used any of those shit.
How would you like to increase your stat by 5 for 30 seconds? How would you like to be able to use a weapon for 30 seconds? That's what they say to me.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's not even like a permanent buff that you can use once. Like, you take it and then that's you until you die. It's nothing like that.
That would be too broken, because then you just have like a soul level 1 build and then just mash on all the bands.
Nah, you can only use one at a time.
Oh yeah, because you can't stack buffs now.
Anyway, so pick up those Lloyd's talismans and avoid these fucking archers. They are such a pain in the ass, especially at this stage.
They really are. Now there was another. Yeah, the poison. That's the last enemy. That's the last new enemy we've ran into so far. The poison statue cluster, the ones that we had to use the bow on. These guys drop human effigies, twinkling titanite, and common fruit. Common fruit raises your poison resistance. But these are the exact same as the things that are in the Black Gulch that spit poison at you.
Except
but they're mobile because they've got a little fucking turtle thing underneath them that walks around or some shit like that.
So something you'll notice a lot about the DLCs is there is a lot of upgrade materials floating about. Lots of twinkling titanite, lots of petrified dragon bone. That is something that is in abundance in these places. So these places really allow you to upgrade your weapons, pretty easily. Now, to get to the bonfire, the way it's intended, quote unquote, is you actually don't want to even jump down here. This isn't even fully intentional, but you want to raise all the platforms.
Yeah.
And then there is like a little hut to your right that we just passed, which you can climb in, and then that will lead to like a thing which goes to that first platform. But this is all you need to do. Again, as you can see, this is right next to that platform that we raised first off. So you just hit that, run onto that, get to the bonfire. That is what you want to do.
Yeah.
So now you want to hit these two to raise the
platform.
The last platform.
Yeah, the platform you just jumped over.
So the items from that platform that just raised there are such a pain in the arse to get, and
but first, where you want to drop off is there's that little hut, like where all the two archers were and the lance guys are. If you look down the cliff face, you'll see this little podium.
Yeah.
So you got to drop onto that and look up towards the poison statues on the cliff face, and you'll be able to shoot an arrow up. Now this tree is amazing. Now what this tree does is if you hit it with a whip, it emits a little fog that repairs your gear, and it even repairs broken gear.
Yeah, it
which
really
is
great.
Really fucking handy.
It's weird that you need to hit it with a whip.
Yeah.
But
this little mist here, it repairs broken gear, which is fucking cool.
Such a nice tree.
I know. Don't hit it too much because it dies, but don't worry, it respawns. But that's the pagan tree. I can't remember if it drops anything. Let me check. It drops 3 dried root, which are shit Elizabeth mushrooms.
So pick up the torches here, and you can see where we were essentially. So that's now we've just got the. Now all we have to do is deal with items on this movable platform. So to get the Thunder Quartz ring, what you need to do is lower this middle platform. Well, it's kind of the middle platform. It's actually the.
Gotta love those collision boxes.
I know, right? So you want to lower this one, and then
this
bring it down.
is the most annoying part of the DLC.
Now, and we have tried other ways of now you go onto the top of the platform and then you raise it up. Now to get the top one, you need to do this way, and I've tried other methods and it's just so fucking difficult otherwise. You need to.
If you're too early, rest in peace, gravity. If you're too late, rest in peace.
Now, to get the Dark Knight Stone, this is only for 2 Dark Knight Stone, you need to lower the platform and then jump down on it while it's lowering. I cannot get it any other way. I've tried so many other methods.
Because any other direction you jump from while the platform is stationary, you either miss or you slide along the face of it and then just plummet. Like what happened there, because it was going down, is you somehow keep your forward momentum and it pushes you underneath it and you make the jump, but otherwise you just slide against it and fall, and you're dead.
Yeah, and it's not even worth doing because it's just Dark Knight Stone. You can buy them at this point.
You've already got a Dark Knight Stone. You got it off the crystal lizard at the bottom of the top of the gutter rather.
Exactly. So
you used it for your halberd, remember? Back in episode 7.
But anyway, now we can continue on with the rest of the area. So we'll just jump down here. Like you could obviously go the way that won't cost you any health, but whatever.
Yeah.
So running across this ruined bridge. Now, this room here is a shortcut later on.
Yeah, in the end it becomes a shortcut. Kind of useless one, because there's a bonfire at the top of there, and it's like a shortcut to the boss from the bonfire we just left, but there's a bonfire there.
Exactly, so you just warp there.
So it's just, there's really no reason for that bonfire to be there.
Now, don't worry, Sin can't actually, like, get you here.
It can, if it's like when you go halfway across the bridge.
Like, yeah, unless you
gains
go
a
into the
hitbox.
bridge, yeah.
Yeah, but you're actually kind of safe. Like, you can walk onto that bridge, you can take a few steps into the fire, and it doesn't even have a hitbox.
So what we just got there was Focus Souls. That's a unique spell from this DLC.
It's already in the game. It's called. What's the name? It's that little one where you hold the staff in the air and you fire a little beam in front of you. But this one fires. Wait for it. 4 beams.
To be fair, I mean, it does do a lot of damage, but...
Yeah, but it doesn't hit anything. It doesn't even hit what you aim at.
So as this is a mule, we already have the keys and we can't get rid of them. But that door that you just saw there, we will be coming back to later on. We don't have the key for it just
We
yet.
are going to show you the key locations though, like 100% guaranteed this is where the keys will be. That's just the way the game is, and we'll show you how to get the keys in a safer way too, so that way you can actually get it the way that you're supposed to. Now, this is why the bow comes in handy. Even if you don't have the stats for it, you want to be able to do this, which is just shoot the little floor contraption so that it rotates the door at the back, because there's a lot of enemies in here, and it's easier to just grab the items and get through the door and then just move on with your life and forget and leave that bitch in the dust.
Yeah.
Now, there's an enemies we're about to come up to who are Sanctum Knights. Now, you can see them, they're ghosts. They look as if they're like multiplayer ghosts, but it's these coffins, these little...
suits of armour.
Yeah, this little sarcophagus thing that's really fucking cool. You break that and they gain human form. When they're in ghost form, they take 0 physical damage and they have very high elemental resistance.
Yeah, you really
Don't want. You can't backstab them, you can't parry them. Blocking them is frivolous. It's really difficult when they're not in human form, so you really want to break these statues as a priority.
But luckily, if you resin your greatsword at this point, you'll be able to hit them in 1 backstab.
Most likely,
but
yes.
at least now you can get them with 1 backstab and 1 hit, and then that'll take them down.
Now,
so, you know.
These guys, as I said, they're called Sanctum Knights. These guys have the potential to drop the Sanctum Knight set, which is actually a very good set. The leggings reduce fall damage and have cool little aura booties. The chest piece is pretty damn good. Really high defense. I think it's the best in its little arm. I think it's the best in its weight category, which is pretty damn good. But they do have the chance to drop Repair Powder, the Sanctum Crossbow, which is amazing. It fires out Climax.
Yeah.
And the Sanctum Repeating Crossbow, which fires out Dark Bead.
Now, what we get from... Oh no, well, we've got a soul vessel in that chest, which is great, which is... I mean, the more soul vessels, the better for you, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a chance to replay different builds, which is really fun.
But what we also get is the Katarina helm.
So, you remember all those hours you spent burning aesthetics and farming in the first area of the game? Yeah, you wasted your time.
Yeah, fuck you.
But back to what I was saying, the Sanctum Repeating Crossbow fires Dark Hail. These things also function as crossbows, like the Repeating Crossbow is an Avalon.
Yeah.
And the regular crossbow is an Avalon as well, I think. And they also have the chance to drop Repair Powder, but we don't care about that.
So now, there's a little pressure plate, as you can see, just right there. Don't step on that because it will fire out arrows, and you don't want to get caught with them, especially with all these enemies floating about. So as you can see, the greatsword does a great job of taking care of these enemies, at least if they're 1 at a time, because you can just go bang, bang, dead.
This is trapped. So one thing we want to mention where we've got a little bit of breaking room here is that, see, if you're using our build where you just get the 2-handed plus 10 greatsword, you're going to have an easier time than someone who's using an infused weapon, because the DLCs are really punishing like people who use magic damage. Like, everything in the DLC is very magic resistant, and that's the same for like all of the DLCs. They have really high magic resist, so this is the time we realise that split damage is kind of impeding in PvE.
Yeah, so we're just going with like straight up plus 10 and then using resins.
Yeah, just raw brute force.
So we'll just run past here because we don't need to kill them, whatever, fuck it.
Now, we just ran past a Sanctum Priestess. Let me get the sheet up for that.
So, remember, pick up this Repair Powder. Now, that Repair Powder there signifies a loop that this level takes. You fall down a bit and then it'll drop you back there, so don't worry. Like what? So that hole in the floor, also skip that, jump over it just now because we want to get the items first before we, move on.
But yeah, the Sanctum Priestess, these things are a pain in the ass. When they die, sometimes they leave behind a fog that poisons you if you stand in it. They use Affinity, they use Dark Orb, shit like that. They're really annoying, but good thing is they're pretty fragile. You can usually kill them in 2 hits with the Greatsword.
1 running attack, actually.
1 running attack, that works too. A good thing here is bait this guy up, and then there's a little... Where that bloodstain is, you can see like a little button. You press that and that activates the wall trap and that kills them in a single hit, which is exactly what you want.
Yeah, I missed it there, but you know, whatever.
Yeah. But the Sanctum Priestess, they have a chance to drop their tiara, which stops you being affected by effects that stop you casting. Yes, it's that specific. It stops you being affected by Profound Still. That's all it does.
So get that Soul of a Hero and get that Human Effigy.
The Priestess also have the chance to drop Crimson Water and Dragon Charm. Crimson Water is very good. It gives you a very, very high amount of HP recovery, as well as like 70% of your spells back, which is really good. I mean, it takes longer than an Estus because it's like a consumable healing item in the way that it's not a standard life gem or divine blessing or anything like that. So it takes a little bit.
That was that Human Effigy again. I've got 99 on me, but yeah just you know. Whatever. But
by now you'll probably have 99 anyway because human effigies are super rare in this game, guys. Vati said it before the game came out.
But yeah, so this next room is such a pain in the dick, but what you also picked up there was the Puzzling Stone Sword. Now that's a long sword which also has a whip moveset.
It's not quite a whip moveset, it has a really cool moveset, but the problem is it has like 0 damage.
Yeah, its attack is so slow. Now,
it's also technically a whip that can be parried, so the best part about a whip isn't part of the whip. So yeah.
So I was an idiot here and decided, oh, just kill these enemies. Yeah, don't bother killing these enemies. Just pick up the items and run because
rip
you don't.
Third Dragon Ring again.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want that happening.
No. Good thing you're not wearing Gowers.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, rip Life Ring.
I know.
Jesus Christ, you fucked this room up. Why use repair? I mean, I'm sure the damage has been done by now.
I just wasn't thinking straight. But yeah, just ignore that room. As you can see, there's no point in not ignoring that room.
But the good thing though is you're gonna get Flynn's Ring, which is a really, really fucking cool ring for low equipment builds. Basically what it does is the ring gives you 50 damage, but it's based off of your vitality stat. So that's your maximum equip load, not your current equip weight, but the maximum you have. If it's under 60, which if you're wearing the third dragon ring and you have 9 vitality, you get 59 point or 58.6 or something like that. So that's the closest you can get with the third dragon ring. Or you can go to 14 without it and you get 59.5, which is the closest you can get to 60. And what it does then is it gives you a bonus of 50 physical damage, and that applies to weapons that do only magic damage, weapons that are infused, uninfused. It's just a flat 50 bonus, and then the more you go over 60, the less damage the ring gives you. But the best thing about it is it weighs 0.2, which the Ring of Blades plus 2 weighs 1.5 or something like that. So it's just a direct upgrade for a low equipment weight build. So really quick builds that use rapiers and stuff like that. Rob Flynn's setup is perfect.
Yeah, so we use that a lot. Now, at this point, you obviously want to kill the stupid sorcerer person the way we did. If you can, obviously, if you've got a bow, then it just makes this a bit easier. But we want to make sure we get this we want to get the Sanctum done as quickly as possible. So obviously, I'm fat rolling now because I'm an idiot, but you know, hit this pressure plate here, which lowers all the spikes on the floor, and then hit that pressure plate there, which opens the shortcut back to that hallway that you've seen.
Yeah, back to the hallway just before where you drop to the room with all the fucking bugs for Flynn's Ring.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna run past all these guys because now we're entering the best thing in the DLC. It is the key to beating every fucking Sanctum Knight. You just got, like, there's every single armor that you need to worry about is now here. So you just gotta break them all, grab all items, and just keep rolling past these guys. They will eventually kill themselves. How, you ask? They do this weird lunge attack, and 9 times out of 10 their tracking fucks them into those pits in the floor and they die.
Just wait to see what happens with me, by the way.
It didn't happen, did it?
You'll be like, what the fuck is like, it is unbelievable what happened right now, by the way.
Now, there is an item in here. On the right, there's like a little pile of bones. That's the inner Sanctum key. That is what you want to grab. Now, you can't see it right now because, of course, we have the keys. But it's like right where the guy furthest away is where he's standing. That's where the key is. You need that to access the I suppose the optional boss.
Yeah.
You need that to access there and to get the lightning clutch ring.
So they just sit here, by the way. Normally they would chase you and then like do jump attacks and fall into the pits.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
That is some 10 out of 10 AI there.
No. So you can also pick up the Sanctum.
So that's what the Sanctum repeater crossbow looks like, by the way. The special attack.
Yeah, it's really good. Now these guys have retarded poise, like retarded poise.
Oh yeah. this is a two-handed greatsword with stone ring, and it isn't breaking their poison 2 hits. So that is some pretty damn high poise. It's like over 100. That's like over 170 poise.
Yeah, ideally what you want to be doing is backstabbing these guys with a resined greatsword, and you'll definitely kill them in 1 hit. So that's kind of what you ideally want to do. But you know, I'm still having no trouble here. Well, minimal trouble.
Yeah, no trouble. Missing half of a health bar. That's the key. The bag of bones right there. That's where the key would be. Then our Sanctum key. And there's only like one other item in this room, which is Sanctum Knight gloves. Was that?
Helmet.
Oh, the helmet. It's just a weird. It looks like a little pot. It's really weird.
So a weird thing happened to me, and you'll see in a second. Now, if you fall down to the right there, you get the blood bite ring. I'll come back and get it. Don't worry. But just in case anyone.
It's a point of no return, just so you guys know. If you drop down there, you have to then drop back down and climb the ladder.
Somehow
again.
That got destroyed. I've no idea how. I'm pretty sure there's Lloyd's talismans in there.
Yeah, it's just Lloyd's talisman. That probably got destroyed when you ran past the Sanctum ghost and he decided to do a combo.
Yeah, so
and busted your box.
As you can see, we are back in the hallway.
Yep, that's where you just came out after you grabbed Flynn's ring. That's where you dropped down to where the repair powder was.
And now, so you definitely want to do the Sanctum Knight bit first, just so you can then do the rest of this area.
Yes.
So kill these Sanctum Knights and
10 out of 10.
And I know I was so irritated there.
10 out of 10.
Bastard.
That was.
But this area is absolutely chock-a-block with items, so yeah, I was just trying to get the backstab on this guy.
You remind me of the people that use ultra greatswords in the arena. Just
no idea what the fuck even happened there, by the way.
It was gonna be a face stab, and then they realised there's no lag in PvE, so they didn't give you it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is essentially what to do. You just circle these guys, go for a backstab, keep your shield up when they're facing you, because these guys do a lot of damage. You've got a king shield, or if you don't have the king shield, you've got a kite shield, or Dranglate shield, or defender shield. So you've got a really nice selection of shields you could use. So yeah, now that was a divine blessing. I think that's what it looked like.
Now in that door there is another key, and to get that you want to hit this pressure plate, and then that'll open the door.
Yep.
And then we've got a Sanctum Knight gauntlets, so that's cool.
Nice.
So in we go, and I can't remember what I think this is the Dragon Talon that you get in here.
No, the Dragon Talon is the DLC key. The one that I sent in the DLC, that's the Dragon Stone or something like that.
Yeah, Dragon something.
It's you need that to access the boss. The 2 bosses that are in the DLC that were intended. Now this is a pain in the ass, this puzzle. You have to go up here, you have to shoot through that hole, then you have to drop down and shoot it again, and then you have to come back up and shoot it again.
Yeah, it's such a pain. Like
although there's something hilarious. Now invaders can't activate these floor traps, and I've seen some of the best trolling ever where the guy was invaded and he pulled all of the Sanctum Knights into the room, right? While they were in ghost form, and that's the pressure plate there. So he was in that room. He hit the pressure plate and ran out, so the guy was stuck in there with the Sanctum Knights and took a seed of the Tree of Giants. The guy couldn't do anything. He was trapped in that room with 4 Sanctum Knights in ghost form. They took 0 damage, basically. He was fucked.
That is amazing.
And invaders can't heal without miracles or warmth, so he was completely screwed.
So remember not to run over the plate when you come to get this item, by the way.
Yes, because this is a complete troll, and this is denial, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. It's basically like second chance from Demon Souls.
It's not like, it's nowhere near as broken as second chance.
It's kind of cool though. It leaves you with 1 HP. I actually really like. I've never used it, but I like the concept of it.
Yeah, like the issue I have with it is it takes up 4 slots, and although it leaves you with 1 HP, yes, but the way that Dark Souls 2 damage works on crits and some attacks is that it deals multiple ticks of damage. So if the first tick of damage pops your denial, the second tick is going to kill you regardless, and then your denial doesn't matter. So that's where like I don't want to use it because of that.
Yeah, and it's timed as well. Like,
yeah,
see,
and it costs 4 fucking slots. I'd rather use Sacred Oath.
If it cost 2 slots or wasn't timed, it would be definitely worth it, I reckon. But you know, if
4 slots not timed or 2 slots timed, and I'd definitely consider it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, taking 1 extra hit can be really good if you're good at avoiding being backstabbed.
Yeah.
So taking that 1 extra hit, I mean, what that can do, and I've seen this on stream, which was hilarious.
Just to make a point, here we go, we've got this bonfire which is here. Now at this point I just go and repair my stuff and come back, so here we are.
Now what I was really laughing on Twitch when I seen this, I was watching Saiyan do PvP and he was really low health, so he started buffing his weapon like right in front of the guy, but he had denial, so the guy hit him and popped his denial, but he got to buff his weapon, so he's like, I'll trade, and then he put on red tearstone ring and just poked him with a rapier and hit him for like 400 damage and killed him. So the denial won him that because it allowed him to buff, and it gave him time to ring swap so that he could get the damage needed to last hit, even though he had 1 HP.
So now what we're coming to is Gesture
Thomas.
Gesture Thomas. So right.
His AI can bug out, by the way. If he doesn't gesture immediately, he won't attack you until he gestures.
Huh.
It happens every now and again, and it's really fucking funny because he just stands there like in your face looking at you and backing up and shit.
So interestingly, although we mentioned that the rapier is really good for bosses, it is not so good for Phantom Invaders because they have so much HP and are a lot more mobile than bosses and other enemies in the game. It's kind of strange, but the greatsword actually is really quite decent for taking out NPC invaders. You can get them in like you can get like definite damage from like 2 hits, and with Jester Thomas, if you can time your hits when he's about to cast, you can just kill him easily like that. So yeah. You do be careful though, because Jester Thomas does some really high damage, and if you give him a window, he'll cast Warmth, and you're kind of, then you need to fight him under Warmth, and you can't backstab him, and NPC HP is insane, so you really don't want him to cast Warmth. If he does cast Warmth, you may as well go reset. Like, you may as well run away, heal up to full, let the warmth burn out, go in and take him on again, and just don't allow him to. So, what you actually want to do for this area is just ignore these enemies. I've came to realise there is no point in even attempting to engage these enemies.
They do drop Petrified Dragon Bone, if I remember correctly. They're the Imperfect. Yeah, these guys are called the Imperfect. They drop Petrified Dragon Bone, Titanite Slab, and Dragon Scales. So,
but the first thing you want to do is light the bonfire. That's you. Just light the bonfire, and then you're fine.
Yeah, now if you use like boss weapons or the Drake Blood Sword, which we'll be picking up in a minute, then these guys are actually really good for getting Petrified Dragon Bone. It drops pretty often. They do high damage, but they also take a lot of damage. Yeah. So they're not really a big deal. Now, what I do here is I just run and pick up the items that are in this area. Now, I've hit the bonfire, so it's fine if I die. I don't die. I'd almost die. It's a clutch moment, but if you die, then you go right back to that bonfire. So it's just a free reset, and just grab your souls as well as whatever items you haven't picked up yet. Yeah, exactly. So there's a few items littered around. The issue that's annoying about fighting these guys is because they work on sound and it's in water, so inevitably they hear you rolling about. Also, when you're rolling about, you cover yourself in water, and as you can see, they have a lightning attack. Yeah. So that sort of really fucks you up as well. Thanks, B-Team. But I mean, I like that. I mean, that's good design. Now, the way to get out of this is actually by just running straight to, and also the water's slightly deeper on this end, which gives you a slower roll. Yeah. But just go out of the water and then they walk away. So yeah, the aggro really stops them leaving. If you actually when you look at them, you can actually see it's as if they're like vaulting water constantly. Yeah. So it leads me to believe that they can't leave the water because of how they work. Whatever. Or some shit like that. So at this point I was just like, you know what, fuck it. Fuck even fighting them. Like, if you want to fight them or whatever, basically the best way to do it is just literally strafe around them. Like, that's it. Just strafe around them, but you need to be careful because they can accidentally surprise you with certain attacks. They can do this leaping fucking body slam attack, which is really, it's actually really hard to dodge at it, even if you're good at the game. There you go. That was the Dragonstone, the one you got from the chest in that room that had the spiked floor. Yeah. What that does is it raises platforms on the left that lets you access the not the inner sanctum, but the actual giant fucking pyramid thing that houses the boss, as well as a new enemy we haven't come across before. Now that's the Drake Blood Greatsword. Very good moveset, very shit damage. However, it is the lightest of the great swords, so that's kind of cool in that sense. I feel that there's a way of abusing it. Not tried it out yet, but its damage is so unimaginably split. The problem that I have with it is that by default it does 60 or 70 magic and 60 or 70 lightning damage or something like that. It does 2 elements basically, so it's not double split, it's triple split damage. and it starts at 180 base physical damage, and it has S scaling dex, but it doesn't have any magic or whatever the other one is scaling. It has none of that. So you only get the physical scaling, and because its base damage is so low, the scaling isn't good enough in Dark Souls 2 to make its physical damage good either.
Yeah.
And infusing it halves the physical damage, and then when you infuse it to one of the elements that has split damage in, it lowers the other one, and it just really, the weapon's really strange. Maybe with the magic clutch and fire clutch ring it might be a lot better, but then you sacrifice a lot of defense for the clutch rings.
Exactly. So as you can see there, those lifts essentially brought you back to the beginning of the level.
Yep, this is where we've picked up our first thing. It was Old Growth Ban.
And now we are off to essentially do the bosses at this point.
Yep. Some good information, which is that they are essentially weak to dark.
Okay, so we're back. So I had to go pee.
What was it? I didn't hear what our last point was.
Now we're off to the bosses. Because there's 2 bosses back to back in this DLC.
Yes, one that is actually like the first boss. I think the first boss is pretty cool.
Well, it's
cool.
Some
really cool mechanics.
It's
really
cool if
attacks.
you don't know the trick to beating her, but if you do know,
if you do know the trick to beating her, that it kind of takes away from the boss experience when it ends in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it, guys. Remember, if you can beat the covetous demon in 10 seconds, you might not get the legendary mythical grab attack.
Oh. So right now there's a bit of a technique to traversing these ruins. Essentially, right, actually, first thing we're going to actually talk about is this room here.
This motherfucking Drake Blood Knight is a dick, by the way. This is a new enemy, which is probably one of the hardest enemies in the game. They've got tons of poise, they do a lot of damage, they're very, very aggressive. Sort of reminiscent of Kirk in the way that none of these guys, like, they don't have any moves that make them back away.
Yeah.
Like, Kirk, whenever he done a backwards roll, he'd always come into a running attack and shit like that.
No.
These guys don't drop anything.
Yeah.
But it's alright because you just
there
got
to
a
fuck
sword.
your shit up.
Yeah. You just got their sword, and you're going to get their armor later in the game.
So as you can see, this room contains nothing.
Apparently, the lore behind it is the Drake Blood Knights pillaged Shulva and stole all the goods,
Fucking
and that's why the chests are empty. But why the fuck was now this is impossible unless you come here with Wrath of God, or you come back here later with the Wrathful Axe. You need something that kills all of these at once, and
Otherwise,
it has to one shot.
Otherwise, you need to go back, reset the bonfire, and come back, and then get the other ones that have respawned.
Yeah, so this can take you potentially 4 runs. Which
Yeah, I was thinking it'll probably take like maybe 15 minutes to do that entire thing, just for fucking 4.
The annoying thing is, as soon as you do this, they all fucking scatter.
Yeah, so trying to get all 4 is just...
It's
impossible.
impossible.
It's not going to happen. Not only, look how much health I've got as well.
You got one, even though you knocked the other one up on its ass.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's kind of what you're dealing with here. And we have tried so hard to find a technique to get them, but you just need Wrath of the Gods to get all of them.
You need an AoE, so the Wrathful Axe, which you'll get after you beat this next boss, the Wrathful Axe it's a Great Axe version of Grant, essentially, where you two-hand it, press L2, and it goes kapow wog.
So, the technique to traversing these ruins is always look for the torches. Yeah. So basically, when you went down onto that ledge that we were just at, when you come down onto this ledge, you don't traverse to the other side until you get to almost the bottom. There's 3 levels on this side, which is pretty much where most of the items are, and the secret bonfire, and then you traverse down to the bottom, and then there's a kind of like a secret one which doesn't have torches that you can jump over to get extra items. Yeah,
it has like some twinkling technique stuff like that there, so it's really handy.
It's actually quite a lot of upgrade materials.
Yeah.
So these Drake Blood Knights can actually be such a pain. Like
these guys can steamroll you pretty bad. Like if they get a good damage train on you, it can be difficult to recover just because they're so aggressive. They're really well done enemies, but I do think they've just got too much poise for an enemy like that.
Yeah, so it
doesn't make sense in the world.
Now, another thing is you can't jump over to the other side from this level. You need to jump down 1 level. So now I've jumped down.
You want to do that because the secret bonfire is here.
Oh yeah, exactly. So as you can see there's torches there and a little bit that comes off. That's
the way down to the boss.
Yeah, that's them saying, oh, that's how you continue on this part.
So you might miss this, but just run along that wall holding X, and about halfway across the wall, boom, secret bonfire.
Oh, tapping X.
You can hold it.
I don't know if you held down or
Yeah,
anyway,
you can hold
point is, secret bonfire. Who the fuck figured that out the first time? Who actually figured that out? Because
the people that figured out pretty much all the hidden walls in the game. They just played the entire game mashing X against a wall.
Anyway, so now this level has, obviously, has the bonfire, but the next level down actually gives you the Drakeblood set.
Yeah, which is actually a pretty good set. It looks fashion as fuck, by the way.
It does
It's
look
a
baller.
really nice purple. It's got a ball and cape with the Drakeblood insignia on it. It's got some nice poise. Not as much poise as they have, unfortunately, but it's got some nice poise. And his defenses are pretty good. According to the wiki, these guys are slightly weak to, they appear to be weaker to dark damage. But that could just be a thing of dark damage is just generally better because it scales off 2 stats.
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
That might be just that case. So it doesn't scale off 2 stats, but it scales off of the lowest, and if both of them are the same, then it can scale differently, I suppose. But it does do a lot of damage, and these guys seem to be weak to it. Now, good news is you've got plenty of room to backtrack here if these guys sort of fuck with you a little bit.
Yeah,
so,
and they were fucking pissing me the fuck off, so
yeah,
at least I got a good combo on them.
Stone Ring seems to stun them in 2-handed R1s.
Or maybe 2 or 3.
That was a couple that were 2 in a row, but I mean, the jump attack might have been like an attack of opportunity sort of thing.
Maybe.
But
so
right here's the
here.
Drakeblood set. Next to more empty chests.
Yeah, so initially it looks like there isn't anything here, but obviously you come in and there is the set, so...
Yeah.
So now, to continue on, you want to go back up again.
Yep. Now rest at the bonfire because there's one more level to go and you want to be fully stacked. You don't want to go in like half a mag, you want to be like loaded up with a Rambo gun.
Oh, obviously, you know, I'm too
Or
pro.
you don't.
I'm just too pro.
You would rather not kill all the innocent Vietnamese, like Rambo.
Well, my issue is that the boss is made so trivial by the setup that we've got that it really doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
you don't even need an Estus, the boss dies within...
So as you can see here, you keep going down, and that level there looks like you can't actually jump over to it, or there's nothing there like all the other levels because there's no torches. But you can see there's an item there,
Yep,
and that's your clue.
the right angle, there you go. Exploration, COD kiddies, exploration.
Yeah, exactly. So yet more fucking Drakeblood Knights.
There's like 2 or 3 here, and they all pose the same problem of going ham.
I've no idea what happened there, by the way. I wasn't even touching the analog stick, and it just sent me like over to like fucking the right there. That was so irritating. Hammed like 2 or 3 times coming down here. I'm just like, what is even going on?
But this little corridor is like, I suppose it's kind of well hidden. Like the visual cues are gone, so you would pass it. So there may be a few of you guys didn't even know that this thing existed. I mean, every now and again we get comments on the guide saying I didn't even know this place existed and stuff like that. So maybe you guys haven't seen this.
Yeah, so maybe this is some new information. That'd be good. And so I'm actually personally very proud on the technique that we used for defeating the boss, because we looked about so much for other people that may have come up with strategies or guides for Elana that were anywhere near as effective as what we've done, and nothing.
Who knew that the speedrun strats would be the best strats? Because I mean, that's all it is, guys. Like, we don't take credit for these strats. No chance. It wasn't us that went, yeah, we could try this. It's a case of, we seen this, and holy fucking shit, the boss just liquidized immediately.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, we are the only person to have put this into a guide. So we are definitely helping people out here. Definitely. If you have the stats for a rapier, you can beat this boss with no hassle.
So the next boss is Elana. Now, Elana's a bit of a difficult boss. Let's start with the fact that she's very resistant to pretty much everything except magic tends to be her weakness. Now, you can summon for this boss, but it's best that you don't because you want to kill it as quickly as possible, so the lower its health, the better. You're going to want to go in with a buffed rapier and set up your rings for the maximum amount of damage. So Ring of Blades, Flynn's Ring would be perfect.
And the old Leo Ring, along with a Bright Bug if you have any.
Yeah, definitely a Bright Bug because it just turns bosses into soup. It's insane.
Now, if you do want to get summons, if you've already done Benhart of Jugo's quest line, his summon sign will actually be in this area as well.
Yeah, if you just walk further back into it, like between all the columns, his summon sign's there. And also to the left of the Fog Gate, there's Steelheart Ellie, who's kind of meh.
Yeah.
But
again, if you want to do this boss, you want to do it this technique. So try and copy what we were doing as much as possible.
So this boss has like a really cool aspect where she will summon, and she has 3 things she can summon. She summons a wave of 4 skeletons. She summons a copy of Velstadt. Now, she can summon 2 waves at a time, so she can summon Velstadt and the skeletons. But she has like a really, really small chance to summon a wave of the little Majula piggies, which is hilarious. Because they just do nothing. The skeletons, by the way, can be affected by alluring skulls. If they're giving you trouble, you can distract them with them, so they'll be handy to have on your belt, but just focus on Elana and just keep poking away. Her attacks, she swings her axe, does quite a bit of damage. She has an attack that you're going to see soon. Well, that's the Flame Swathe. She has an AoE, which is like a Wog and a Dark Storm. This is the attack coming up, the The little 3 dark orbs do quite a bit of damage. She has a dark hail as well, the little shotgun blast. I'm looking at the wiki for any other attacks that I can see. She teleports around, by the way, which she usually uses to try and get behind you and fuck you with the axe, but she's pretty easy to take down, as you just seen there, and that was quite sloppy. So with some actual good RNG and some nice play, then you'll be great. But always focus on her. Ignore the mobs if you're doing it solo, and NG anyway, you can risk that. And especially Vilstat, just ignore him completely. He's a pain in the ass. Elana's soul, you trade with Ornifex and you get the Wrathful Axe. It's either Ornifex or Strayed. It might be Strayed actually, you get the Wrathful Axe. It's a great axe, and when you two-hand it and press L2, it uses a Wrath of the Gods sort of attack. It's kind of shit, but you might be good with it, so who knows. Apparently she's immune to poison as well, Elana, according to the wiki. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and she has Affinity. I almost forgot about that. When her health gets low, she casts Affinity.
But obviously, we killed her too quickly for that to even be a thing.
Exactly. So just go in and melt her face with a rapier, and that's it for this video, guys. So if you click the video on the left, you will go to
the second part of the Shulva guide.
And if you click the video on the right, you'll go to the first part of the Broom Tower guide, which will be uploaded very soon. Might be uploaded by the time you watch this. If the annotation's there, go ahead, click the box, that takes you there. And of course, our information's on screen. If you want to follow us on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, keep up to date and catch a few live streams, perfect. Do that. And of course, we hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys actually found something new.
Yeah, let's hope. And I guess that's it, and we'll see you in the Broom video. Bye, guys.